Ribbon Committee for People with Disabilities. Today is May 18th, 2022. And the first thing on the agenda is to review the minutes of April 20th, 2022. So if you all can go over the minutes. You all have any corrections, changes, provisions that we need to make, please let us know.
Says he on the line.
Who's on her way? Oh. Who's online?
Dr. Richards. Dr. Richards. Okay.
Dr. Rutherford, do you have a copy of the minutes?
Yes, I'm looking at. I have a suggestion, if I may.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Wednesday, April 20th minutes. If you scroll down to for discussion and possible next action steps on, and it says report from Christine Bay's Special Needs Program. It goes on, the first bullet, it says the CYSHCN staff. I'm going to request, could we parenthetically spell out what CYSHCN is? I know it's mentioned as an acronym in the body of the minutes, but if we could define the very first time we mention it, if anybody were to read these minutes, they'd understand what we were talking about. It's just a suggestion.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, it's a good one, Dr. Rutherford. I had looked at that and I said, I don't want to ask because now they're going to say, you're the dummy one. So I was like, I'm going to act like if I know what it means.
Well, I'm with you because, Christine, can you let us know what that acronym is?
It does. Since we're contracted as a Family Support Community Resource Center or organization, this acronym commits to children and young adults with special health care needs. The state. This is the state acronym, but of course, when it comes to the minutes, I can go ahead and report it with the complete program.
Only the first time, that's really whenever you publish. Only the first time you mention it, you can parenthetically define and spell out what it is. Thereafter, if you choose to use the acronym, it's perfectly fine.
Yes, definitely. I'll go ahead and do that.
I make
we
that
can correct this.
correction. Yeah, I make the correction. Thank you, Dr.
It's not really a correction, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, no, it does make sense because that is a long acronym. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
I wish I had Dr. Richards at the work.
The second to the last bullet, there's an FSCR acronym also.
Go to see y'all.
Where is that? I'm sorry.
Put the last bullet on.
FSCR,
Oh, okay, yes.
and I'm sure we've heard it 10,000 times already. but-
And what is that, Christine?
Family support and community resources.
Okay, thank you.
It would be good to spell that one out.
Anything
First
else?
time it's mentioned as well.
Mhm.
Just for the purpose of publishing, so that anyone who picks up and reads this will know what we're talking about.
So whenever, anyways, that was here last time, can motion to approve the minutes, and I need someone to second them.
Motion to approve the one.
I second.
Okay, thank you. With the additions that we just requested,
Amended.
right? Okay. Item number 3 is public comments.
No, I requested for public comments.
We move on to item 4, discussion possible action on the next steps for a report from Christine Reyes, Special Needs Program.
If I may, if we can make a quick change to the agenda for the sake of time and to respect Dr. Chamberlain's time. I'm not
Yes.
sure if he's,
Thank you.
Um,
I'm doing well. Good morning, everyone. I know Dr. Rudinger was chatting when I walked in, but I did want to say good morning to everybody and be able to answer any questions regarding or give a status update on the situations that I do see or the items listed here on the agenda.
I guess the biggest one that we've been discussing has been the issue with the air pollution or air contamination issue, okay? And we don't know where the city is at with that. I know that they had submitted a letter of support for a grant that was being submitted by city council to be able to acquire some air monitoring systems or devices. I don't know where that is. And so I guess that's the one that we've been contemplating about and most concerned about, because apparently contamination is occurring throughout the entire city, and it's not nice, and that's not an isolated issue.
So yes, absolutely. I can provide an update on actions that have been initiated via the Laredo Health Department regarding ETO in our community. As we do know, ETO was brought to our attention via the ProPublica study that was shared or disseminated last year in September, brought to the attention of council in October of last year, and we've been diligently working in the background loudly, may I say, even though it might seem a little silent to everybody, but loudly, as we are knocking on doors, and sometimes, as I mentioned, we get stopped at those doors. So that is involved with, of course, our Texas Department of State Health Services, that involves TCEQ. Of course, we at Laredo Health have taken it a step further to involve our federal partners at CDC, or I should also stop using the acronyms, I apologize. So Texas Department of State Health Services, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality at the state level, but then we do also have our CDC partners Center for Disease Control and Prevention, working with ATSDR, which is the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. So these individuals have been our greatest ally in this initiative, as this was brought to their attention back in November. Working with ATSDR, we have been trying to get our foot in the door with EPA. As mentioned, with the grant opportunity that was submitted March 7th of this past year, we're not going to get notified of award until September of this year. So we wish that would have happened sooner than it's later, because we're still on hold about this award opportunity. And we have also shared this concern of ours to be able to have air quality monitoring stations here in Laredo that are operated by the city of Laredo and not by TCEQ. TCEQ has 3 monitoring stations. Actually, one of them is down and has been down for quite some time. And those monitoring stations don't actually monitor for all volatile organic compounds, VOCs as they are known, and especially in this case, ETO, ethylene oxide. So with that being known, within our grant application, we did include monitoring stations, 4 of them, as they are quite pricey, and we do want to have that subject matter expertise that's linked to those air quality monitoring stations, because unfortunately, we don't have that expertise here at City of Laredo Health. We want to birth that, create that, working with subject matter experts from EPA and ATSDR as we go through this process. So we've already been speaking with them to harness their resources, so we don't have to wait to get awarded for this to start. As I continue to mention and share with our partners at ATSDR, we wanted to start last year, and we're already mid-year, and we still don't have any progress on getting any subject matter expertise coming into the city of Laredo. As ATSDR would work more on the biomonitoring side, but in order to get to the biomonitoring side, you do need to have data on the air quality here in the city of Laredo, and that's where EPA comes in. Unfortunately, as mentioned, EPA has not been answering our calls until recently. So as of Monday, we got a notification that on Wednesday of next week, we'll actually have a communication sit down with them virtually, which we're very happy, so we can start that ball rolling on the technical expertise, and also to give us guidance as to equipment that we can purchase now. Of course, we don't have a funding stream for it, but I will make that known at City Hall with our council members as well and our city management to let them know if this is an opportunity that EPA is saying we can buy 5 machines. I'm saying just an X amount of dollars at $8,000 each. Where can we pull that additional funding to get that started? As mentioned, also, we don't have that subject matter expertise, and there's a lot of variables that are involved with air quality monitoring. We can't just set it up and say, this is the way it works, or watch a YouTube video and expect to be subject matter experts over the course of that time. We do need EPA to join with us hand in hand. Eventually, we can let go of that hand as we have made our subject matter experts here at Laredo Health. So all that has been in process. Aside from that, of course, we did request an EPI request to the state of Texas so that the state of Texas could start on this process working with the federal government quicker, and that was pushed back. That was back in January, February this year. Unfortunately, the state of Texas decided not to support us, which then, of course, caused the ability to bring in federal partners quickly to fall apart, and for Laredo Health to start have to make those connections by ourselves. That was unfortunate, but state of Texas is helping us out, which I do appreciate, with them working on a cancer assessment of the specific census tracts within that area, and then have a control down in south or just right outside of Laredo of the population there. So that is in the works. That also was pushed on hold by DSHS, but thanks to our local and state representatives advocating for that to be taken off of hold by DSHS and put back into the works, that is ongoing right now. That'll give us data from 2005 to 2019. A lot of us do know that ETO is a carcinogen, and many times it does take years for it to manifest itself. Not unless you have direct exposure to it daily, then you'll have a rapid acceleration of a potential cancerous threat to your biology. But we know that it's important for us to already start collecting this data to have a baseline. Because in
Dr.
5,
Chamberlain, I have a couple of questions. May I?
absolutely.
The concern with ethylene oxide is, as you stated, time really is of the essence, because if you have day-to-day exposure, especially with little children, it becomes a very serious issue. I understand from what I've read, and I'm sure that you're a lot more well-versed on the matter as Joe T. Public, which I am. But I understand that there was a miscommunication, or more like a disagreement, between the Texas version of the Environmental Protection Agency and the Fed. Because the Fed had identified our city, our community, as being one of the worst in the country. And I understand that for some reason Texas agency did not move on it, and so there was, I guess, a disharmony between the feds and the state level. I can see where you're pushing, trying to move forward, but did I hear you say that we had some monitoring instruments, but that they have not been functioning for a while? Is that what I heard you say?
TCEQ does actively have equipment in City of Laredo at World Trade Bridge and at Bridge number 2. There was an additional monitoring system that is offline, but we do have monitoring here in the City of Laredo for particulate matters over 10 microns and for carbon dioxide emissions.
See, and that's what I would see. If you have them earmarked for the bridge, I would think that that's what you would be looking at. You were more specifically looking at perhaps the type of pollutants that come off of vehicles. Is that correct?
That's what TCEQ will be doing, that will continues to do, but within our study that we are requesting funding for from EPA, we will be doing all of the above.
The ethylene oxide is the one specific carcinogen that is of utmost importance right now to the citizens. And I know that what you're saying is that the one that you're looking at for the funding source is an $8,000 per unit.
That was just a guesstimation that was shared.
Because I did find some that were less costly online with the software that could be installed to any laptop. And of course, the cost would be to take personnel from Laredo who are already working within the health department, perhaps to be trained on the software and do the monitoring. But to be very honest, my husband and I were so concerned that my husband spoke, I believe it was to the mayor, and said, I'd be willing to buy a couple of units, of these particular units, to start the monitoring process. I have worked on budgets, millions of dollars worth of budgets, and I understand line items when you're budgeting for a function number. Is there anything that exists within the city budget right now where you could adjust a line function number in order to start the process of monitoring for ethylene oxide, even if it was just within, let's say, 5 miles of the sanitation company, because they are no longer monitoring what they're putting into the air. They stated they were online, but they're not. When they were interviewed, I saw an interview online, and they stated, well, no, we don't think that, monitoring on the fence line of our company is really giving us good data, so we just didn't. But I think for the health of Laredo, and especially the schools that are close to the sanitation company, if we could even have 2, even 3 would be wonderful, to monitor within a 5-mile, not a radius, but even because most of the wind flows in Laredo, flows, I would say, what is it, east, southeast? And yet, you know, you would think that that would blow ethylene oxide away from the city, but in actuality, it's not blowing away. It's just, it's colorless, you can't see it, you can't smell it, so we have to have those monitors. And if we could even start with 3, sir, close by to the elementary school, it would be wonderful. Is there any way that we could change a line item or a function number on the city budget to maybe get one, maybe that's not the Cadillac of the monitors, but something, so that we can gather some data? Because you said that you needed monitoring data to submit to the Texas Department of Environmental Protection. Maybe we could gather some data that way, just preliminary data, maybe not the Cadillac of monitors, but just to have some kind of baseline to submit to the Texas Environmental Protection Agency.
If I can just interject quickly, this is Erica.
Hi, Erica.
I was in a technical call for that EPA grant, and there was some questions posed on the equipment to be purchased to do this type of monitoring, and EPA did warn kind of a way. They didn't specify which machines or technology to use, and I know that was gonna warrant a further discussion, but I know that we want to identify equipment that is going to be somewhat vetted by the EPA, so we know that the data is valid. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
That is correct, and I appreciate that you've taken the time to research on potential equipment that can be utilized by the City of Laredo, specifically City of Laredo Health, Dr. Ruthinger. But as mentioned, I'm going to have a discussion with EPA next week on Wednesday to acquire that technical assistance to be able to walk us through, as there's many variables that can influence the data, the quality of the data that is going to be provided, and then also for them to give us their gold standard, their silver standard also on equipment that is going to be something that we don't have to be purchasing often, and that is also low maintenance as well and respectful of cost. So
I'm sure that they have recommendations, and as far as what level of monitoring they would accept for the grant application.
Oh, but of course, this is thinking outside of the grant application, because as you mentioned, we can't wait until September to then say you were awarded or you didn't get awarded.
I appreciate you saying that.
So as mentioned, we've been working loudly but silently in the background, and we are just trying to see where we can pull funding from sources that can help purchase this equipment that EPA is going to share with me. I'm going to keep on poking at them next week on Wednesday, because that is the first time that they've actually answered our call via the City of Laredo, as a resolution was sent January 16th to EPA with a response that was received on February 27th, and that response let us know apply for the grant, and that's all we're going to do for you all. So we weren't very happy with that. We tried to contact them via telephone. No voicemails are returned. Tried to contact them via email. I just received that response from them yesterday, as mentioned. Monday, as mentioned, setting up the discussion virtual meeting for next Wednesday, and also a formal letter was sent to Dr. Irna Nance, which is the EPA Region 6 Administrator, letting them know we've called you, left you voicemails, you all are not answering, you have a public email that needs to be responded to, and lo and behold, they are responding now, which is great, but a little late, but we'll take it.
Unacceptable. I would look a little bit further up the feeding chain, to see what is the agency that is above them, because you should have gotten a more prompt response.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
You've done your part, but they have not responded appropriately. I mean, this is an emergency.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And we've also, of course, let our congressman know to be able to route those trees in Washington, to let their administration know from EPA Region 6, EPA Central Office, that they need to jump on board with us ASAP.
Because they are the ones that produced the data
Exactly.
that made everyone concerned in the first place, the bad EPA.
And they hold the
Well,
subject
okay.
matter expertise to be able to guide us in the process of purchasing, in the process of operating, and the process of the technical aspects of ensuring that we have quality data that validates the need for additional actions to occur in the community.
Yes, and like I tell you, the preliminary, just looking over what's out there are portable units, and from what I read, the portable units come with software. They're provided. They do not do the ongoing training for personnel. That falls on the responsibility of the community. But basically, they're units that are used for the monitoring, and then there's a software that is used to crunch the data, and that can be uploaded and sent to either the Texas or the Fed EPA.
Thank you for sharing about that equipment and that software, and that's something that is on our agenda. Absolutely. As mentioned, we've been working diligently hard in the background to make sure we let everybody know that this is not okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you're meeting with them on Wednesday. What is the possibility of the city approaching? You have people in the community who have the means.
Mm-hmm.
What if the city of Laredo, I don't know if that's a possibility, City of Laredo, approaches those entities that would be able to sponsor maybe half of a unit one person, half of a unit the other person.
Absolutely. There's people in town who would do that.
And so I'm thinking, what would it take? And I don't know, I know what it takes from a perspective of a church, because we receive funding and people come in and they donate. I know of people who probably would. So what would it take to share your treasures, for them to share the treasures, so that it could make a difference?
So there is a donation process with the city of Laredo that is, of course, taken over through our legal, and then pushed through, depending on the amount of the donation, pushed through to council to approve. Aside from that, as mentioned, we do need to have subject matter expertise developed. We can't just go out and leave it there. So if we were to get the donations, then we do need to have that training for our staff. Then also we do remember that we don't have an air quality division of individuals that would be dedicated to this. So when we pull staff from our food safety to start working on our air safety, that impacts the operation on the food safety side. So there will be a balance that we will need to find to be able to ensure that this is getting worked on, but also that we don't interrupt operations in other portions of health, because we would like to have, and within this grant opportunity with EPA, we did put in a public health technician to be solely working on this, because this is going to be an enormous amount of data that's going to need to be collected and analyzed and provide this updates to the community, to council, to stakeholders. So with that being said, we would welcome donations, but then there is the aspect of the hours that are involved to ensure that the operation is ongoing and that it is running smoothly.
So have you all considered?
Another thing we could look at, and this is just, a hip. I'm thinking in terms of the feds, they are in the process of sending billions of dollars down the pipeline for the tail end of the virus of COVID. And as COVID is no longer rearing its ugly head to the level it was previously, perhaps some of that money could be earmarked, if that is okay within that grant, to function for what the community needs, and specifically, I guess it would be air and water quality, which is where we are right now in Laredo, both air and water quality.
That would be absolutely wonderful, but that would take Congress to make sure that that is changed within the legislation that they have passed. I would say, let's make it happen, but that would take Congress as a whole to make that change in the statutes that have been printed. and that have been ratified over the last couple of months and years.
So once the grant is given to the city of Laredo, to the
If it is, I hope it is.
is the function, it cannot be changed, the function is specifically for COVID, and locally there is no wiggle room to change anything?
Unfortunately, not all dollars that are associated with COVID-19 report back to project measurements, and that is by the contract that is dealt to
So
us.
maybe what we need to do is we need to bring our Congress
It needs to be
in.
amendments.
I'm serious, because if we're really worried about the health and safety of our children, next generation, and
Absolutely.
ours, then I think we need to bring people to the table that can do something about it, rather than wait, because all I hear right now, and I know that you guys are working and everything, but all I'm hearing is, even if we get the machines, we gotta train. So September seems a lot closer to not getting things started with the money that would come outside, rather than closer to acting it now, because I have no idea how long the train, and I'm pretty sure it's not a one-day training. So it's gonna take time to get those trained, and then you have to, we all learn at different paces and everything, so this is extremely.
Initiation can begin on day one as long as we have a teacher holding our hand to make sure that it happens.
This is all mandated.
And that's where EPA will be that SME, the subject matter expert, to ensure that we can start on day one. So training will continue to go on with this individual until we can let go of that hand.
Yeah.
So once we do have subject matter expertise and equipment, then of course that can start. We can have the subject matter expertise on board as of next week, which would be great, as long as they give me that okay. If not, we have to continue to knock on those doors to get higher up in the chain to have that, because we can purchase this equipment, but then of course, getting trained by the organization who sold it would be okay, but is that also a process that is vetted to ensure the quality of the analysis that would yield the data for the community?
So, again, back to the donation portion of it. What does one need to get those things, or who can approach entities in the city?
So they can email us at
Because they're not gonna
Erica or
call.
myself,
Yeah.
and they can email us, and then we can push that through the city hall back end to get the approval to be able to absorb those types of donations, which is very kind.
I guess the thing, Dr. Chamberlain, is that there's some legitimate concerns about this, okay, and we've been talking about it for several months. And I guess the question that we've bounced around, and the issue that we've bounced around is, where's the city in this? We don't see that there's any immediate urgent action taking place. What's going on? And so in the meantime, this pollutant is being expelled, and it's poisoning people and potentially killing people, maybe not now, but in the future. And we're like, they're arguing about money here, okay? And we know very well that when the city wants, you find money. You know, you find money, okay? I ran a $25 million organization. When I needed money, I moved it, okay? It regardless of what the budget was, we found ways of how to do it.
Exactly.
And so yeah, we're sitting here and we're saying, well, we're gonna wait on donations from here and there, and I know it's not you, okay? I understand that you're not like, you don't represent city council in its entirety, okay? But I guess as individuals who were selected to represent a specific group in the community at large, I guess at this point we're asking, okay, so how long is this going to take? Because it seems as though there's one issue plus another, an obstacle after another. And, you know, we sit here and we ask ourselves, does the city council just not care about what's going on here? Do they not see the important value and health prevention issues that we have to discuss here? And so those are the kinds of things that I think, and that's how come you're being like bombarded with questions.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, I share the same concern. I mean, I live in one of the denser portions of where the ETO map has been designated densely, the concentration is at its most toxic form. Excuse me. So I feel what everybody else is feeling. But of course, what's most important are the persons who are most vulnerable in the community, excuse me. Children, of course, which this does have a longer lasting impact and a quicker
It
impact.
actually affects their DNA, is what the research says.
Yes.
You know, I want to echo what our chair has just stated, and it's a matter of priorities. If we can prioritize this one particular issue for the sake of all of the citizens, because we do know that it's a toxic carcinogen. We do know that if you're exposed to it for even 1 year, there are going to be health consequences, and for the children, the research says DNA is damaged. So this is something that needs to be, in my humble opinion, prioritized by our community dads, by our city dads, for the sake of all of us.
No, absolutely, and we do hear you loud and clear. As mentioned, I have a chronological order of a timeline of all the actions that have been going on week after week after week after week. So we are working on this, and that is also public record if anybody would like to pull that. There has not been any silence. We are working on it, but as mentioned, there is ways, and we're making those. We're shaking those trees, knocking on those doors, and we need to get through them. And this will start sooner than later. As I mentioned, I can't sit here waiting till September to get awarded.
No, it's obvious that you're doing your part. What is unsatisfactory is that Texas isn't moving fast enough to show that they are committed to this huge health problem. I don't see them moving and supporting you.
That I'm not going to comment on that side.
You're being recorded, Mr. Chairman.
As I've experienced a door being shut on me. But what I will say is that EPA will have its final ruling of the standard, which if I'm not mistaken is 0.00002 parts per million. Don't quote me on the actual part per million, but they will have the ruling by the end of June or the end of July to be able to give that standard to everybody across the United States, that TCEQ, who does not see eye to eye with EPA.
Exactly, that's what I was trying to voice, but you just stated it succinctly. That's exactly the problem. And another problem is that you stated that they were requesting you to provide data on your monitoring. But if we haven't been able to monitor it, how can we give you the data?
Agreed. But in the end, of course, we're going to make the air quality monitoring happen, but then also have that not just relying on the state, but have that operation as part of Laredo Health from here on out.
And from here on, if we know that a unit went down, we must be proactive in the budget to have wiggle room, that if one unit goes down, we need to repair it. We can't just let it dwindle and say, it's not working. We have to make sure that they're all working, because we now know that there is one business here in town that is expelling this pollutant. So because of that, we're going to have to be diligent from here on out, as you stated, monitoring air quality for the sake of everyone, especially the kids.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And I guess the other question that we originally began with was if the city knew that they were going to expel this kind of carcinogen into the atmosphere, why were they ever even approved to establish their operations here?
Exactly.
That's a great question. Of course, that happened in 2005 when they were zoned, if I'm not mistaken, and allowed to come into the city of Laredo, and ETO was not listed as a carcinogen until 2016.
Oh, okay.
So then why do we continue allowing them to operate?
It's not the city who licensed them, it's TCEQ that licensed them.
There we go again.
That's horrible.
The Texas EPA.
Okay, so we beat you up in a
Well, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
No, absolutely. But we still have COVID stuff to talk about. It's completely fine. No. It's completely fine.
It has been an ongoing concern for our group. Obviously, we have responsibilities to people who have disabilities, And I want to thank you because it's not easy to be in a leadership position like yours and have the responsibilities that you have. But I appreciate so much that you're listening.
Absolutely, and I thank you so much for you all coming together and having and voicing these concerns for one of our most vulnerable populations, and that we continue to do the good work that we're here to do, and we do it selflessly.
Thank you.
But I'm not going anywhere. We still got COVID to talk about.
Absolutely.
That's another meeting, no.
I see that it's letter C.
Yeah, well, we
I don't know. We're wrapped up on letter B. Oh no, sorry. No, we just discussed C. So we can go back to B really quickly, and just let everybody know. Segueing, of course, from ETO to COVID, since COVID is still trending. I mean, we're still in pandemia. I don't like to use the word. I know some people have used the word endemic. When we're looking at an infection, a disease that's endemic, we have data on it for years to let us know that it's going to happen in March, it's going to happen in June, we're going to see peaks in December, we're going to see peaks in February. We don't have that just yet.
Right.
We're only going into our third year of collecting data. So March 16th of 2020 was our first case in Laredo. So we have 2 full years. We're going into collecting our 3 years. We don't know what the frequency is going to be like. We do have years and years and years on influenza. So I can tell you confidently that influenza in December and in February, we peak. So that's when we're on alert. With COVID, we're seeing 3 or 4 waves each year. We don't know if that's going to be reflective going into the future indefinitely, or that's because we're all still building some type of immunity with actual infection, or thank goodness for the vaccines. So with that being known, we have experienced a significant lull in our community over the last couple of months, which we're so very fortunate to have had this calm, have persons come together such as yourselves. Thank you all for being here, and we hope to see you soon, Dr. Ruthinder. But we are on high alert as we have ordered. We have it on stock right now, 78,000 at-home tests. We've ordered 80,000 additional at-home tests. Since we don't have that accessibility to COVID-19 testing for free anymore, as per the federal government that happened back at the end of March. So with that, we knew Laredo Health had to step up, working with our partner. Thank you to Gateway Community for helping us acquire and stockpile these at-home tests, so that in the event we do experience another wave in the fall or in the winter, we have a large amount of at-home tests to be able to provide the community, because we knew that testing was always an issue over the last 2 years. But now even more so that we don't have free PCR, free antigen testing anymore due to budget constraints at the federal level. But the federal government had purchased millions and millions and millions of these at-home tests that were stored I don't know where, but we made sure to ask for pallets and pallets and pallets of these, and we've stockpiled them just to ensure that safety for the community. Regarding vaccine, as we know, FDA yesterday did authorize for boosters for 5 to 11-year-olds via the Pfizer vaccine, and we should have CDC provide a response today so we can start boosting 5 to 11-year-olds, as we have seen with all age populations, that the vaccine for most does wane over a 6 to 8 month period. So that's the reason for those boosters. Some persons who do their titer count or seeing their antibody level have a high antibody level still, which is great, but for many your antibody level goes low. So we recommend getting your primary series, your booster, and your additional booster, of course, for persons over the age of 50, to ensure protection, since we know that individuals over the age of 65 were hit hardest over the last 2 years. So we do continue to push boosters. We do continue to have events across the city of Laredo, ensuring that there's vaccine equity, taking our bus into communities so that you have that accessibility for persons who do not have transportation to get to an HEB or Walmart or with us here at Laredo Health. As we all know too, vaccines are no longer covered anymore by reimbursement, so a lot of providers have dropped off. Private providers, since it's not free anymore. But with speaking with Walmart, speaking with HEB, and speaking with CVS, they're still offering the vaccine for free until their supplies run out. So that's great that they're still a community partner as another access point, as there's numerous Walmarts, HEBs, and CVSs across the city of Laredo, besides Laredo Health Department and our mobile operation that are providing vaccines. So we can't stress enough on the importance of getting vaccinated and staying up to date. It's no longer fully vaccinated. The new terminology is up to date, as it is with any other vaccine, your tetanus, your flu. So we recommend that you stay up to date with your vaccines, with all vaccines, but specifically right now with our COVID vaccine, as there is a forecasted surge for summer. Hopefully we're not seeing it, but when we go back into the less amount of sunlight, less amount of vitamin D for the winter, being indoors, we see it with influenza, and we'll potentially see it again, an increase with COVID-19. Hopefully not as severe, since we do have a lot more natural immunity and of course vaccine provided immunity, but we're prepared.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're too
Any
kind.
other questions?
I love this stuff.
I can never do you justice. Please join us more often.
Absolutely. But I do want to say thank you so much. I did also get a copy of the recommendation for replacement of members, and we'll be pushing that onto council agenda for June 6th. So I just wanted to let the group know. I did want to say thank you once again. Know that invite me, I'll be here. If I have the time, sometimes I'm taken to other places, but invite me anywhere you'd like me to go speak, to give, to your organizations. I'm 100% submerged in the community. As mentioned, I'm here selflessly, but to ensure public health.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We missed you the last several times.
We're sorry we beat you up.
Lunch. You will enjoy lunch. No.
Thank you so much for lunch.
It gives me more fuel to make sure things get done.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll see y'all soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Enjoy lunch. I don't know if you had lunch yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we were with.
Sorry.
It's okay. Take a little break.
I can always go back.
I should become a court reporter.
Hey, they make good money.
Shorthand?
Yes.
Shorthand.
Shorthand.
I was thinking about that. I was
To
like,
know how to do shorthand.
Shorthand.
I'm recording.
I should learn how to do that.
Want to continue, Christine?
Yes, I'll try to make my report as quick. The Children and Young Adults with Special Health Care Needs program is collaborating with the Healthy Living Viviendo Mejor program to offer free nutrition classes to special education teachers, teacher assistants towards the special education units and administration. There will be a summer class from June to the beginning of August. Topics addressed are how human body works, healthy living, types of diabetes, risk factors, proper food label readings, carbohydrates, serving knowledge, exercise benefits, and stress and depression management. The program is going to be offering free Zumba to the participants, blood testing, and additional health education prizes. Our program wanted to thank the teachers for their hard work throughout the year in taking care of our students. We did emphasize to them that the summertime is a time for self-care. In appreciation of the work, we're extending the invitation to them to participate in this program. Again, to benefit their healthy lifestyle. It's an 8-week course in the summer, so it's a perfect time for them to participate and focus on their well-being. This course is going to be offering 50 teachers the opportunity. Of course, that there's more teachers, and we did offer it to UISD, LISD, charter schools, private schools. If we do get more than 50, we're not going to be leaving them out. We're going to continue saving their contact information for the next sessions over to help them throughout the year. Our staff connected with Brighton Center of San Antonio, Texas. Our meeting discussions and topics included an upcoming visit that our program has to Brighton Center. Our goal of the visit is to learn more about the services they provide to the children and young adult with special healthcare needs community and how they collaborate with Early Childhood Intervention, ECI. An in-person conference has been approved for our program to invite Brighton Center Executive Director and ECI Director from San Antonio to discuss how learning centers and daycares can provide the right help at the right time and level the playing field for the kids with disabilities and developmental delays in our community. Our program at Brighton Center will provide the learning centers and daycares with education and recommendations to help implement developmental services to children with disabilities or delays, empowering them to achieve their individual potential, making them successful in our community. This conference is currently being planned for the month of August. As new details arise, I will update the committee on the specifics as far as dates and times. The program has hosted a webinar for young adults transitioning from high school to college. This was in partnership with Partners Resource Network. We had 102 families from our program registered and participate. The workshop provided parents and high school students with disabilities practical suggestions and information about the college admission process. The topics included disclosure of disabilities, self-advocacy, available accommodations, and other resources that help the transition into adulthood. Our program participated this last weekend with the Nurse Family Partnership Program in the Family Park Day event. Our program was able to educate families on the recreational therapy activity, bubble therapy. Information on the benefits of bubbles and how they promote physical activity, hand-eye coordination, visual tracking skills, gross motor movement, balance, or oral motor skills, and overall calming effects. And we were able to provide each family with emergency preparedness bags with emergency family plans that were provided. Since summer is upon us, I was reviewing the state surveys as well as been receiving calls throughout the month of expressed interest of summer camps for children and young adults with special healthcare needs. I currently have information on statewide camps that are being hosted by various sponsors. I do have copies available for everyone towards the end. I can. Some of these camps, they focus on specific disabilities, for instance, diabetes. We have free camps that are available for children who have cancer, who are in remission of cancer, and the siblings. We do also have it for asthma, children with asthma, epilepsy, developmental disabilities, spinal bifida. So the list goes on, and these are statewide camps that we can offer information to families to see if they would like to participate. Some camps are week-long, maybe a day camp or possibly a weekend camp, and it does have specific information on the age levels that they are accepting and then the contact.
Can we get a copy of that?
Yes.
Our website is about to go up. I'd like to put that as a resource on our website.
Yes, definitely. I have everyone's copy here. If you need it via email, I could also send it email so that it's a link for families if you would like to connect them with it.
Send it after the meeting.
Okay. So there's a lot of camps going on during the summer now that COVID is. I know it's still upon us, but camps are starting to open up for our families, especially children and young adults with special healthcare needs. So they are coming to me on a weekly basis, and as they come to me as a weekly basis, I'll go ahead and share it with the group so that we know upcoming camps. As far as local camps, I know Ms. Rodriguez is really good sharing with me about the respite care camp that they have, so I know she'll keep in contact with us on that one. Our program created educational flyers and videos on our program, components of a medical home. We did do one for Star Wars Day and child mental health education. We have an upcoming webinar for we're still trying to coordinate a time or a day, which is a Friday in June. But this specific webinar, we are focusing on siblings of children with disabilities. We are emphasizing that it is important for parents to understand the unique challenges and benefits for children with special needs siblings. This workshop is going to explore the challenges and benefits and offer ideas on how to help the sibling express their feelings, fears, and needs. The goal is family unity on this one. We currently do have 486 clients. Our program is at a 572% of clients served. But this month alone, from mid-April to mid-May, we currently assisted 127 existing clients with webinars, events, and education on state resources. And that is my report.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What would we do without you?
I know. But yes, I have the copies here of the camps. Thank you, Ken. Oh, sorry, my pen got stuck in the middle.
So you guys are getting busier as summer progresses.
Yes, and just to share, I know it's not in my report, but we did have a state meeting with our contractors, our leading contractors for the program of children and young adults with special health care needs, which is Audrey Young. She did want to ask our area specifically about the challenges, the pros and cons that we have in our area here in our community. I did mention that since we have started this program, our numbers have grown tremendously and they've seen that. So this meeting was very vital to them to learn more about what our needs are in our community. I believe my supervisor was also on the call. What we discussed to them was, of course, any program when it comes to a grant, funding is key. So we've explained that much of our program has really stretched its dollar as well as thought outside the box to make more resources available and our program more accessible for our families because of the numbers that we have. We did discuss with them that just to keep us in mind that for the next following years, of course, if the RFA is renewed with the grant, to keep in mind that our goal, since our numbers are growing, personnel needs to grow. As well as possibly more training material funding so that we can help continue serving our families. We did predict that in the next coming months, we are having several events that are coming up within our community, and as these events come in, we have about 50 to 100 new clients that come into each event. So we predicted that in the next 3 months, which is our last quarter, especially during summer, we might get another additional 200 clients, which leaves us at possibly 700 plus clients. Austin hosts 1,000 clients per year, and we're already close to Austin numbers. So the state really recognized that. Our goal right now, as far as our program, is to continue getting all the data that we can from the families that the state requires, keeping it and using it for statistical data to know where exactly the zip code need is, as well as what disability is the demographically, yes. So we are keeping all that information as well as putting it together so at the end of the year we can have it ready for our administration.
So I have 2 questions. Number one is how many people in your particular program? How many people do you have as staff besides yourself?
It's just myself, and then I have our supervisor that she overlooks our health education. She's our chief of education, so I report to her. But she is in the loop as far as what our program is doing because we do have to go through our specific approval processes as far as when we do events or outreaches. So we only have one individual working under this specific program, but we do have, of course, our supervision.
So you mentioned that you're close to 700 participants. Austin has 1,000. Needless to say that Austin is much larger. So is there a greater need here, or do you all do a very good job of marketing the program? I don't know. What do you think that? Why are your numbers so high?
That's exactly why the state wanted that call with us because they were like, Christine, how are you doing it? Because we want to learn. And that's what I was really happy to get on that call because our new coordinator, which is Candace Richardson, she was learning a little bit more about our areas and she noticed that our reports were coming in and growing. And she was just like, I need you to do about 5 minutes of discussion within our contractors meeting to say how you do your outreach. So I was basically educating our group, our other contractors, because there's a total of 12 in the state of Texas, how we do our outreach, which is connect with community support groups. We go to events. We work with the special education units. Right now, I believe in several high schools that we've been assisting with the emergency funding. One high school alone has 368 plus seniors, and this is just seniors in the special education unit. And so we haven't even, we haven't even breached the first part of being able to hit our demographics, especially when it comes to children. And this is not including young adults in 18 to 21 as well as 0 to 3, because those are still our clientele. So I was mentioning to the state that having a relationship with the school system is key. The other one is other partners, for instance, ECI, which is 0 to 3, and then the South Texas Developmental Council, which is 18 and up. So the state really loved the feedback that we were giving them. And of course, they're using us on their report for the federal block grant that they're submitting to the federal government. So much of what we've been doing here, they're mimicking in other cities, as well as trying to get the other cities to implement what we've been working with here. So we've been getting really great feedback.
So I have a question. You said that you were one. So who assists you in going out and canvassing all these places?
Well, whenever it's outreach events, I do attend myself. We do have program specialists that I believe are under a COVID-19 grant where they promote health programs. So they do offer information. But I will be I will be honest with you. Whenever it comes to, for instance, the 498 clients we have right now, I've spoken to each family. And I've connected with them to learn more of their stories, what resources they're needing. So every client that comes through our program, I've spoken to them, learned about them, gotten specific details to see what specific local and state resources they
You
need.
deserve a standing ovation.
Thank you.
It's a lot of
That's why
work.
you did so much.
That's so.
I just want you to do with your personality.
Yes.
When you go out. Because I can tell you that unless you have somebody that's a real shaker and a mover, things don't happen. Okay?
Congratulations, you're doing an
So
amazing job.
obviously you're doing something well, and it's you. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Christine, I just want to make a point here. Granted, that's no longer my area, but I know that when I was, with the state and with VR, we talked about the collaboration and the referrals and whatnot. So, I mean, they're at the table here. They've got a lot of money, right? Those folks, 14 and over, need to be referred to VR. They've got the money. So there's got to be some kind of collaboration, right, between Jeanette's office and you, the city, to assure that, all the numbers are great and whatnot, but they got the money to take care of them. So that connection, I think, is very important that it is done. Says
The
of course.
resources that you're talking about,
Yeah.
what you give out, is exactly what the program represents.
Yeah.
The self-advocacy, the determination, all
Finally,
this.
responsibility.
Yeah, but they've got the actual money. Say they want a certification or they want to go to school, and they've got the money to do that for those individuals who qualify. And you've got the age group. I don't know if that's happening now, but I just want to put it out there.
Yeah.
That we're
And we're aware. I mean, we kind of started something when
Yeah.
you were there, but then you left. We have right now a vacancy for our VR transition counselor, which would be the one working very closely with you. And then we have our new unit support assistant, which is brand new. She's trying to wrap her arms around her
I
job.
believe I had spoken
But
to
they
Ms.
would
Hassel.
be the ones to
connect.
to
Right?
Yes.
to work with you. Anna is spread very thin right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's kind of the unit go-to with the
Yeah.
vacancies we have. But yes, I agree that it is. I know it was in the works before,
Yes.
and we do want to resume that. We just unfortunately don't have trained staff or even staff in the vacancy right now. But yes, I agree.
I know with several partners, as far as like the South Texas Developmental Council, whenever I do refer out, we do have our own referral sheets. And I'm very, when I do referrals, if I do have a family, I follow up with the families. Did you already receive services? Have you already had an appointment? If they haven't had an appointment, I'm the one calling. Hey. So I really, when it comes to referral system, I'm very big on referral system and then following up with my families just to make sure. Because I know sometimes life hits us, and you know what, I have my referral just sitting there, and I haven't called. And you know what, let me be your friendly reminder. You know, so I do follow up with my families, but it goes from services from even home improvements for ADA home improvements, things of that sort. So if Texas Workforce Commission wants to work a referral system, we can. I know I'm currently working one with ECI because we do have 709 students or children that are going to be graduating from ECI. So we are working on a new referral system for them to transition into our program. So if again, once they're 14, I know my 13-year-olds are going to be 14 by this age. Let's get all that information and transition packet ready for mom and dad or the caregiver, and they're already set to know this is the next process. So I do try to have a process with my family so that we're not starting too late, or if we are starting late, it's okay. We're gonna get there. So I do information packets for my families.
So Christine, do you know who Erin Brockovich is?
She's her cousin.
I seen the movie.
You're reminding me of her a lot right now. You told me you individually speak to every person. That's the only way she was able to get people to agree to file a lawsuit
To
against.
jump on the train, yeah.
But it does make a difference. That personal connection makes
key.
a world of a difference.
Definitely, and I tell the state this all the time. I'm not a social worker, but coming into this this field, especially when it comes to community resources, it's social work, 100%. And I do let them vent. I like to hear their stories. And I know sometimes when they call me for one thing, I'm like, did you know? And I connect them to additional resources.
Sure.
So
You would make a amazing VR counselor.
We were just saying that.
I'm serious. No, you're doing an amazing job, and honestly, we see that all the time. And I always tell people, I said, if someone, COVID did a lot of things, and one of the things it taught me was that personal touch is the most amazing thing on the face of the earth. It really changes. So whenever we do have to go into the communities, I can tell you, I just went to a campus and I was super elated because I got to see the principal, and we walked out of there with results. Amazing results because of the fact that we make that connection.
Yeah.
So you are practicing, which is
We're
rich.
doing
So
it.
thank you.
thank you.
It's doing habit, right?
And if there's anything we can ever do, come in, speak or anything, let us know. We do have, our staff is grown. And so, we have individuals who would love to be able to speak to your group.
Definitely, yes. Thank you so much.
You're going to be approached by a lot of headhunters here.
Erica's like, meeting adjourned.
I figured I'd say that because I'm not responsible for anybody.
Christine actually started with our organization through administration and was part of my team for a bit before this opportunity presented itself. And I think things happen for a reason. And I think that I hope she's happy, but I see a bigger purpose to her role than simply,
She looks
so
very
we are
happy.
very happy to have her here.
Yeah.
And I hope she's happy too.
Plus, on the personal level, Christine is, you live it every day. You know exactly what it is. That's how it's such a better fit to connect, right?
Definitely, yes.
That's the difference right there.
Okay. So we've done our job recruitment. So let me see. Where were we? We've done Christine, COVID, the plan.
We talk about the D2, that one's done, the replacement. Mr. Chamberlain hit us. We're on announcements.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that we submitted the recommendations to the mayor's office. So let's see where that goes.
So they'll be probably on the June 6th agenda.
Yeah,
he mentioned June 6th.
June 6th.
Mr. Chair, I have a quick announcement, just something I want to share with you all because I don't know if everyone is aware. In 1998, the Assistive Technology Act brought forth a new era so that everyone can have access to assistive technology and augmentative communication who needs it. The wordage on the grant says every state will have assistive technology program. It's a formula grant. And I just assisted a CEU for my speech therapy license with Angela Standridge, and she shared what she's doing. And Texas has a great program. It's called the Texas Technology Access Program, and it has 4 functions. It has a demonstration center in Austin. It has a ability for anyone to borrow who needs assistive technology, and they have a lot. They even have a recycling program, and they even have alternative finance for people who may not be able to afford the technology that they need. Their services include free demonstrations of assistive technology. They have 35-day loans of technology. They have a reused, recycle track that they have that's available. The financial support is there. The training is there. So I just wanted to let everyone know that if you are interested, either tap me, call me, or email me, and I will put you in contact with Angela. I also have several links. I was made aware also that they have a program in San Antonio that sometimes, families need a wheelchair or a walker and they can't afford, some technology kinds of orthopedic things. And there's a place now in San Antonio where you can, if you have wheelchairs you're no longer using or walkers or things like that, they will fix them, sanitize them, and recycle them. And some people, if they qualify, can get it free or for a lower price, which I think is a very valuable thing. Again, Angela Standridge, and she's in Austin with the Texas Technology Access Program. If you want some more information, I took tons of notes, and I have links and everything. So if anybody needs any information, please send me an email or call me.
Thank you, Dr. Ruthinger.
Welcome.
If that's all, then we can.
I just wanted to make a comment. I don't know if anyone was able to attend the governor's meeting. That I think you guys sent us the link. It was a day and a half on the 5th and 6th, and it's very similar to what we're doing, but at the governor's level. Maybe some of you have attended. This was actually the first time I had heard of the governor's meeting for individuals with disabilities, but I had never actually attended. And so it was very interesting. I mean, it was just an eye-opener as to how the laws for individuals with disabilities are actually either created or changed. And you have this group of individuals that obviously are from different either agencies or just the public that are part of this. And I was happy to see VR was at the table. Our program manager for programs, Claudia Peden, who was actually the VR manager in Laredo for about 7 years in the past, is on that board. And I just almost cried. I mean, really, I guess because, we know about the needs for individuals with disabilities. I mean, we all work with it every day. But to see a higher level, if you will, of advocates with so much passion and experience in making those things happen legislatively, it was just amazing. I mean, amazing, to see people so passionate. You would hear people say, what we've been trying for 30 years to make this happen. Like, really, and then the ideas that they had and how to advocate and how to assist. It was a long meeting. It was a very long meeting, a day and a half. Full day, like 9 to 5. But it kind of made me feel like I wasn't doing enough. I mean, we do a lot because, we wouldn't be here. My career is dedicated to the cause, but, it's just, I encourage whoever has not sat in on it, maybe not the whole day and a half. I mean, I was multitasking. I was like my emails here and like the meetings here, but it is just, I mean, it really kind of put the wind beneath my wings to see how, the professionalism, the expertise, the experience, the ideas was just like, wow. I mean, amazing. And I just thought, like, go Texas. I mean, I encourage you to sit in, even if it's just an hour, 30 minutes. I know everybody's super busy, but thank you for that link. I don't think I would have ever had that experience of what is going on at a higher level, at the governor's level in Texas. So it was, I just don't have a words.
Now, when you spend some time in the Capitol with the legislators, and you go to funding committees and subcommittees, you have some people who stand up there who have done this all their life, okay? And they stand there and they educate you, and you thought you knew a lot, but you don't, okay? And so there are venues or avenues, how to access funding for specific programs and populations. But it's not until you hang out with those individuals in those places, okay, that you realize how profound and how integrated and how knowledgeable some people are in specific disciplines or specific disabilities. And so, yeah, it's an eye-opener. I don't recall ever spending time with a governor, but but you go to these legislative budget hearings where you're asking for money for specific purposes and populations, and the people who show up there, very, very well informed and very educated,
Been doing it a
and
long
very
time,
prepared.
I'm sure.
And so, yeah, you walk out of there feeling as though I've not done enough. There's more to be doing, and it's a lot of time. It's very motivating, and inspiring. So,
Yeah, I think just to know that we're not alone. I mean, sometimes I think we get like a bird's eye view, like it's just us, you know, trying to change things in Texas, and it's not. It's not. You know, there were a few powerhouses in there whose word matters, and they're humble and just in the cause for personal reasons. It I don't know, it just was an experience. It really was. So I encourage anybody who hasn't to join in. It's really something. So thanks again.
that's good.
That's great.
I don't think I would have been invited otherwise.
I just have an announcement. So on June the 9th, we're going to have an open house for our outpatient gym, one of the largest in Laredo. And that's just going to be meet and greet. And then we're going to celebrate the top 10% for our rehabilitation hospital, which once again, out of 800 some odd hospitals, the Laredo Rehabilitation Hospital was voted in the top 10% in the nation. That's big, right? Putting Laredo on the map. So we'll have a barbecue. It will be outside. It'll be a fiesta theme. But that the save the date will be forthcoming, and then the invitation. I'll email you all. You all are welcome to come and have some barbecue with us. Dress cool because we're going to be outside with tents. So anyway, I want to make that announcement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Will there be tables there?
Yeah, we'll have tables. We'll be under a tent. Hopefully some fans, depending what this weather does. We'll get rain that day, no.
Don't jinx it. Crazy weather.
Right?
Anything else anyone else would like to express? If not, we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. So I'd like someone to motion that we go ahead and adjourn.
I'll motion again.
Thank you. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.